people under the age of 35. That is the group that is most plugged in. They're most online. They're more on podcasts and doing his normal Trump thing. But Netanyahu is fucking disgusting and dislikable to the max, and he's committing a genocide. And so, like, he really thought, oh, this will work out perfectly. Instead of his podcast appearance raising his poll numbers, he just, like, nuked the Nelk brand, the Nelk Boys and their podcast and the fucking Full Send podcast. And now everybody looks at them like the disgusting moral relativists and nihilists that they are, who just care about fucking cheap clicks, just care about getting eyeballs on them, and literally don't give a fuck about children starving to death right in front of our faces because of the guy you're giving a fuck.
And when me and him was sparring, I remember him taking me down then, and I was like, no, I think when I saw the video, I remember the session clearly, and I thought, shit, he's a featherweight.
But I mean, it is crazy. So even when I see that footage, and then even having like we'll spar him, and then even having Izzy just come and randomly bump in, he's just like, what? How did this happen in the middle of Thailand? It was just so weird. Like every time I see it, it blows me away, especially to see the level that we're all at right now.
I remember. I think I it's been a while. It's been a few years, but I sparred him way back in the day. I don't remember. I always remembered. I always knew he hit hard. He swings hard. But now I feel like he's confident in that power to where if you really watch him, when he throws those big shots, both legs aren't on the ground. This guy must have some power because both legs aren't planted on the ground. He's almost leaping into the shots. Henry, you see him leaping into the shots to where it seems like those shots are hurting his opponents whenever he connects those shots.
Rodriguez, he does what he does every time. I've trained Rodriguez a lot. He's just a fucking hard-nosed dude that just never gives up. And that's what he does. But Sean didn't play his role. You know what I mean? If championship fights, you got to fight like a fucking champion.
When did you and where did you train with Dricus?
I was in Florida. Dricus used to come to Hoof's gym back in the day for many a year or two. I don't know, quite some time back in the day. You could identify he's tough for sure. He's well-rounded, tough, and just never gives up. I might have been a little further ahead technically, and I think I was going at 205 at the time, maybe a bit bigger. So I was a problem for him for sure. But he's so true to form and gotten better and better, and he just never fucking gives up. And energy is so much about winning. You have to believe and understand where you're at that place in time and put in the work, and it's not always about the most technical guy, you know, it's the guy who wants it more, and right now no one wants it more than that dude.
Even when you were in there with him, I thought it was awkward. You know, I felt like he was slow and cumbersome, you know, and then he punched me in the face. So, what do you know, you know, and that might be one of his greatest weapons, just to fly under the radar, to make people think he's not up to scuff, and then you get in there with him and he beats you.
Bruh, he just finds a way, man. That guy's stubborn.
Who are we talking about?
DDP.
Okay, all right. Because both, you could say the same about both.
True, yeah. I mean, Hamzat's very stubborn, you know, and the way he did Rob as well, did my boy dirty. Yeah. I was like, nah, okay, that's when I was like, okay, this guy, I just want to show me something at 185. Then I took him really seriously, and I think he's a real threat at 185. But this nigga DDP finds a way. I'm telling you, man, I tried my fucking best. I had him on the ropes, I had him on the fence, but he finds a way with his clumsiness. He's great.
It's wild, man.
He's wild. He's actually a wild boy. I know he's a wild boy. DDP, I know you're a wild boy.
The mindset, people always go, you have to be able to, you have to be willing to die when you get in there. That's true, you have to. But that's a minimum requirement. The harder part is, can you kill a man when you have to? Yes, I can. So I'm willing to die, and I'm willing to
believe that?
Life.
I mean, like,
I know that.
Yeah, you know that.
I know that. When I go in there, if there's no ref, the ref doesn't stop it, I'm not stopping. I can be sitting on you for 10 minutes, bashing your face. You know, if the ref doesn't say stop, I'm not stopping. And that is the question that me as a modern day gladiator has to ask myself. Am I still willing to die? Absolutely, that's easy. It's, are you willing to kill a man in front of his family? Yes, I am. And that's why I'm the world champion. Because I say yes to that answer, that question every single time. That's Dricus Stillnox.
Yeah.
Du Plessis.
The game plans that this guy's doing for him and his coaches are absolutely unbelievable. For me personally, DDP is a guy who I'm baffled by. In all honesty, I'm completely baffled by his style, because there is, you watch him, and to be quite brutally honest with DDP, you watch him and he looks a little, it's difficult to say, but a little bit inferior to his opponents in terms of technique. But it's amazing to watch because he obviously isn't inferior to his opponents in technique.
He's an incredible grappler. I mean, we've seen the videos of him choking out an entire Gracie Barra black one after the other. He can wrestle. He's got good judo. His striking's good as well. I know people like to talk shit about the rhythm and the timing. Is it effective? Yeah. It's like when I fought Dan Henderson at UFC 100, my boxing coach was watching videos of Dan Henderson going, lad, you're going to fucking destroy this guy, right? He's shite. He's shite. What happened? Boom. I got slept. Right? It's not about being the most technically pretty. It's about being effective. And Dricus is very, very effective.
Dricus is getting better. You know, we always criticize him and we say he looks bad. He looks a little awkward, but he's getting better. But when you look at his confidence and his demeanor, and the way he carries himself, there's no champion in the UFC that's got the total package like him. I mean, this guy just oozes championship in him. Like, he walks out, he chests up, he says all the right things, and then when he fights, he delivers.
Like Du Plessis is, he's well conditioned. He fights well when he's tired. Sometimes I don't know whether he's tired or not because of how kind of awkward his style is. He seems to be able to thrive when he's fatigued. But I also feel like the times when Du Plessis is fatigued, he's also pushed his opponent to the stage where they're quite fatigued as well. And because he dwells better in that fatigue space, he tends to capitalize.
Watching the countdown, watching the embeddeds, he's got like 10 guys switching in on him. 10 elite guys, like 185ers switching in on him over 25 minutes, trying to fatigue him. They can't use two partners with this guy. They need to use all these partners to give these partners, go in there, go as hard as you can for a minute, hard as you can for 2 minutes, switch him out, get a fresh guy to try to absolutely fatigue this guy. He is a real freak of nature, Dricus Du Plessis, and he gets away with things that you don't think you should get away with, but he does because he's such a good athlete.
Well, you know what the thing is about challenging, right? Dricus Du Plessis, for as good as he had been, and every time I've spoke with this guy, he's so confident. Like, he doesn't believe that he's going to get beat. And honestly, I was one of, if not his biggest detractor. I would say he wasn't that good. I said he couldn't wrestle, and then he kept winning and winning and winning. And I'm like, wow, he's much better than I thought. And I thought he was complete against Izzy. One thing. Even when he knocked out Robert Whittaker, I was like, oh, well, anybody can get caught. Right? Like, it was just every reason to move the finish line on this guy. We took the opportunity.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think no one saw this type of future for him except him and all of his coaches, and he has assuredly leveled up since he has become a top contender since the Robert Whittaker fight in July of 2023. You talk about all the guys that are already on his resume, but he didn't just walk into our first fighter meeting back in the day on Fight Island suggestive of being a UFC champion. You want to be an all-time great, and that's what drives this guy. And certainly he has gone to great lengths to accomplish that, leaving no stone unturned as far as the preparation goes.
Everyone that has fought him said he's got a different kind of strength. Almost like clubbing forward, with punches, and then just when he grabs you, it's like just that weight you really can't get off of you. It's very unorthodox in how his approach is. He's a bigger, lumbering guy. He seems out of balance all the time, but he's making progress and moving forward. He's always trying to push the fight forward, and he's dangerous.
Yeah.
So, and no matter how tired he looks, he can look freaking exhausted.
Yeah.
He keeps pushing.
I keep saying this, but I don't get how Drickus is a champion. Just stylistically, I watch him and it's just messy. Like it doesn't seem like, oh, I get it. Like it's just messy. But one thing, and this is an art in itself, is he just knows how to win. Like he just knows how to figure. It's like you said, stubbornness. Blocking this way, he'll figure out that. It just eventually he's tough enough to still be in there and then find a way to win.
People look at my style and they go, this guy looks like a gorilla on roller skates. He's sloppy. But that is this way I train. That is the way we do it. And that is not just that is how we have our style, and then we believe is superior. And we believe in that system because I believe in my coaches 100% in what we do. And winning that title just prove that we are not just hanging with the best. We are now the best on planet Earth in my weight division. And the style that we've invested in and believed in, my coaches and my team, it was all worth it, and we were right. And now you can believe in your system even more. And that self-belief you get that from that, it gave me that almost that stamp of approval of what we've been doing. And my whole team feels the exact same way now.
This is what I mean. For all of the faults, for all of the footwork being weird, for all of the balance, for all of the leaving his feet to leap and all this stuff, you just don't even know if it works. And then at the end, he keeps getting his hand raised because he just has an attitude of seek and destroy. Fine, turn over a rock. Let no stone be unturned.
It's a clutch gene. He knows how to win.
He has an absolute clutch gene. Now, a clutch gene is sometimes also defined as like you're down in a hole and you got to fight your way out. But there's another version of clutch gene, which is I'm going to step on his neck from the get-go.
And there's one other quality that I think describes him. It's simple, but it's not that often you see it. It's not every day, no matter how much talent someone has, that they have this. And what he has is the same thing that Usyk has in boxing. An ability to win. An ability to win. A drive, determination. A lot of people have that. But he's got that plus an uncanny way to do and know how to win.
Nothing you're taught in an MMA class or a boxing class is what you want your students to look at when you see du Plessis fight. But it doesn't matter. That's what's beautiful about mixed martial arts, is if you can make it work for you and you can find a way to push your game plan out there and make it effective, it doesn't matter if it's pretty. There's too many variables. There's too many options in mixed martial art. If you can find takedowns at weird angles and they're not the standard, American freestyle wrestling way, it doesn't matter. If that person ends up on their ass on the ground and you can choke them out, doesn't matter. If you're throwing punches that aren't necessarily textbook English style boxing, doesn't matter. Are you hurting them? Are you dazing them? Are you knocking them down? And Drickus just has a way to fight. He has a way to make fights happen and work in his favor. So I've started to love him over the years because of that.
We had Israel Adesanya on the pod. He said he does everything wrong, but at the same time, he does everything right. Like there's nothing slick or smooth about him, but he's able to hit you with a certain thing. It's almost like a Homer Simpson where he just throws a punch and it's moving, and all of a sudden there's the back of his knuckles came and they hit you. DDP is very unpredictable, and he has championship experience. And the simple fact of what I saw, what he did to a guy like Sean Strickland, man, that tells you everything. He didn't even take this dude down. He struck from top to bottom, level change, made him thought wrestling, came up top, kicked him, did the whole nine, where he was able to win the striking battle against the Philly shell that nobody could decode.
In terms of Drickus du Plessis' style, there have been a lot of professional fighters who have publicly or privately criticized him and said, oh, he's not very good. And, certainly there are things that maybe are undeniable. The footwork is awkward and unorthodox and maybe just a little bit sloppy. He is an offensive force. He is an offensive fighter that prioritizes offense. He prioritizes finishes, right? Doesn't have a lot of decision wins. This was the first time he had realized a fourth round, and I think a lot of his style is something that is rooted in South African culture, and I might lose some people here, but part of his martial arts style is rooted in just straight desire and will.
Driscus is just so unorthodox and so awkward, and he just probably has that random like man strength. It feels like it. Even when he fought Whitaker and he took him down with that headlock, you're like, bro, what was it? It was unorthodox. It wasn't a crazy, great wrestling takedown, but he took him down. He forced him down. Even in a lot of his fights, he's getting beat up, and then he just figures out a way. Brunson was killing him, figured out a way. Darren Till had his moments in that fight, and then he figured out a way to finish him in the last round. There's always these moments. He has toughness. He has heart. He doesn't give up, right?
A lot of people, and myself included, whenever I'm not gonna speak for people, I'm gonna speak for myself. So whenever I watch Dricus, I see him as like, you know what I mean, he's kind of wild. His footwork isn't the best. He kind of closes range by lunging in, right? And as a fighter, you really don't want to lunge, because lunging can get you in all sorts of trouble. Once you're in, you're committed, they make the right move, you're kind of stuck there for whatever they have to come back at you. So that's why lunging isn't typically recommended. Dricus is the guy that once he gets you going backwards, that's when he uses the spring. So he understands. So understanding that he don't have the footwork to actually move, to cut and get in and work his way in that way, and his way to get in is by lunging. He makes you retreat first, and then that's when he lunges and he gets on you after that.
I'll tell you this, man. I never thought that we'd be here today with Dricus du Plessis as the middleweight champion of the world. I didn't know. But as he told me earlier in the week, and as I now understand, he does things his own way. And I am learning, even though I've been in this game for a long time, that all mixed martial arts doesn't look the same. Sometimes it looks different. And Dricus du Plessis looks different. But as I now have gained an appreciation for his style, I know what it looks like to me now. It looks like a champion of the world.
I think what we run into sometimes with du Plessis is the aesthetics of his style. It doesn't look the same. It doesn't look like what we're used to looking at. It's hard to break down. It's hard to even be an analyst for it. So I think maybe some of that's on us. Maybe we need to get used to what we're looking at and just accept that maybe the fighting style isn't changing, even if the aesthetics does make him look tired.
And yeah, it may not look pretty. It's not what a coach or, some kind of online tutorial would tell you to do specifically from an execution standpoint. It might even look a little bit sloppy, but it doesn't matter, because the way he's able to put it all together allows him to win rounds. And I would argue, for people who are in the sport, for people who have trained in MMA or jiu-jitsu, the most difficult guy to deal with oftentimes is that guy who is not moving at a rhythm or a pace or in a way that you are used to. I would much prefer to go against, in many cases, someone who is highly technical, who I can read their patterns and movements really well, something that I'm used to, as opposed to someone who I have no idea what they're going to do next. And Dricus brings that. Again, not the prettiest thing, but it doesn't have to. Sometimes in combat, it doesn't have to be pretty. You just got to get it done.
The guy comes out there, he makes it ugly, and DDP gets the job done. That's just what he does. I think it's time for us to accept this, that not all shapes and forms of champions and MMA fighters to get to the top of the mountain have to look the same.
Like, if you're sparring a guy who's clean and precise, sometimes those guys are the easier guys to spar. But we call guys like that a booger, right? Like, they're just awkward. But what happens is when he's not clean and concise, the punches come from weird angles. The defense comes from weird angles. There's just things for you to. It takes a hard time to get control over, right? And it's just that big step overs and loops and everything else coming from all different positions with his hands down. But goddamn it, he does it well. He's got so much heart and self belief in what he does. Right, and he's truly one of those guys. When you watch him, like he's really willing to die in there. Like the way that he fights.
I already knew he was a fan of me. I knew he was a fan of me, but I guess
now I'm a fan of his because we've been in there, we've done it. And when I'm in South Africa, I'll tap in with him. But I said, look, we can hang out, but just so you know, when we have to fight again, I'm gonna kill you. He's like, I'm gonna kill you too. So yeah, the respect is always there. And Dricus is an African champion.
Dricus du Plessis is the 4th African champion right now. So there's 4 horsemen. 4 horsemen. Yeah. So we've moved on from the 3 kings to where now it's 4 horsemen. So to continue to perpetuate this whole African king or this or that, that's ridiculous. Dricus is an African champion. He's the African champion because everybody wants to be funny because he's white. And that's completely wrong.
But dude, he's just always on the gas. Always on the gas. And that, in MMA, which is an inherently offense-oriented sport, you're gonna win more often than not with something like that. And the reason why the second fight with Strickland is so important, I think, in my judgment, is, he's kind of always been like, the goofy guy who just keeps getting by.
He reeled it.
But if you can beat Strickland twice, if you can finish Izzy, if you can finish Whitaker, at some point, and I learned my lesson already.
Right.
But there was a lot of people out there like, wow, it's not accidental.
Well, his game
There's
planning.
nothing accidental about it.
Sharing with you, I don't know where his massive skill comes from. He doesn't look like the sharpest kickboxer to me. He's got pretty aggressive hands and he's got a couple of kicks that are pretty slick. I can't go any further than that. His wrestling appears to be on point to the point that guys don't even want to engage with him, but I haven't actually seen the takedowns and the scrambles. I mean, and this is all meant as a compliment. Because to your second part of your question, is it time that we all admit that Dricus is just very good? Yes, I'm there. I am admitting that. However, he is an underdog for his very next fight against Chimaev. Nobody's going to look at him as truly the best of his era unless he gets through Chimaev. But once we do that, Daniel, it's going to be a big problem of does he even stick around in the weight class any longer.
But DDP to me is someone that he finds ways to win. That Keith Jardine, herky jerky, just clunky kind of fighter. But they're winners. They're winners, and he's good. He's good at stuffing takedowns. He's good at with heavy shots. He's got
physically
power in his
big,
hand.
physically strong.
He looks like he's tired all the time, but he keeps moving and keeps coming forward and keeps pushing the pace. And I think he's going to come a little extra. With a little bit more intensity this fight because he really wants to prove something about Chimaev. He wants to prove that Chimaev's not the real deal.
I do believe that he's going to be a very tough challenge for Hamzat. I feel like he's going to be able to last those first couple rounds versus Hamzat, and then when it gets to the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, his cardio might take over. I'm fired up for that fight. That's going to be an interesting one. I'm curious the odds on that because Hamzat for sure is going to come out and in the first 2 rounds, he's going to take DDP down. And there's a good chance he's going to take his back. Is DDP going to be able to survive the rear naked choke, the face smash when he smashed Robert Whitaker's face? I do believe he's going to. And then in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, something Hamzat really hasn't experienced yet, it's going to be a phenomenal fight.
To wrap my head around Dricus du Plessis being overpowered to the tune of his jaw breaking by this guy, right? Like Dricus is just such a block of a man. Yeah. That it's just hard for me to wrap my head around him sort of suffering that type of fate.
Hamzat, you think you're strong, you think you're powerful, you have not felt anything. And I can't wait till I see it on his face because I see it on every single person I fight's face. When they realize, oh shit, that's the message.
Wat als je een volledige bank in je broekzak had?